Hey, what is up guys? My name is Kandori and I am known as the #1 Qiyana in the world. I am ranked 5 on NA at the moment with about 1300 LP and maintaining around a 70 to 71% win rate playing mainly Qiyana. I know that a lot of you people are trying to pick up Qiyana at the moment because you either see an LCS, you want to learn new champs, or maybe you're trying to learn new things that you didn't know. A lot of you guys have been requesting me to give an in-depth Qiyana guide, so today I will be teaching you guys how to lane as Qiyana, as well as some tips and tricks to start playing her like how I do. Let's get right into it. Alright, so let's get into her skills. So her passive is every time you hit an enemy with your first auto or ability, it will deal bonus damage to them, which scales with your level. And this passive has a 25-second cooldown. So her Q, you basically just swing your weapon at them and it deals damage. This also procs your passive. For her W, it allows Qiyana to grab an element from either a wall, a brush, or from a river. While holding an element, this will enhance Qiyana's Q, dealing more damage and having double range than her original Q. The enhancement also has many effects that makes Qiyana one of the most unique champions in the game. So with the Rock Q, this allows Qiyana to do an extra bit more damage to enemies that are 50% or lower HP, and this will be effective on executing low health enemies. With Grass W, this allows Qiyana to be stealthed while gaining movement speed for 3.5 seconds inside the range, which is a pretty long amount of time, which is pretty much a better Kha'Zix OT. And this will be effective on juking and having a lot of outplay potential. For Qiyana's River Q, it allows Qiyana to root someone for 0.5 seconds and it slows them shortly after for 1 second. So this will be very effective on setting up ganks and gap closing onto enemies. And one thing to note is that switching your elements will reset your passive on the enemy you had recently attacked before. So for Qiyana's E, there isn't really much to it. It's basically a gap closer, a dash, that deals damage. And it also procs your passive, which means you'll be doing extra damage to them. So for Qiyana's OT, I think this is one of the most broken champion OTs in League of Legends. You basically CC them for a short amount of time as it pushes them back, and if it hits a wall, it will stun your target and will go around the wall. And people do not know this, but Qiyana's OT works in brushes and on rivers, and this can be treated as a wall and cause your enemies to be stunned as well. Alright, so this is Qiyana's standard or regular combo, and you can also incorporate it with Tiamat. But let me just show you the regular combo first. So it's EQ, WQ. That's basically all to it. And for the Tiamat, you would E Tiamat, Q right after, and WQ. So E Tiamat, Q, WQ. And that's basically all to it. Alright, so now we'll be talking about Qiyana's full combo. You basically want to Q, R, W, E, Q. So you would get an element off the wall. Q, R, W, E, Q. And if I'll do it slow. Q, R, W, E, Q. And I would say that this combo would be very effective on people face checking and not having a ward on you. So you would QRWEQ on the wall and you can pretty much one-shot them if you have the right build. Alright, so this is what I call a slow combo. I have Dustblade, but you don't really need Dustblade, but it is recommended with Dustblade because the extra damage and the sound effects sound cool when you come out of stealth and all of them. So what you need to do is have Grass W pre-applied and be using it at all times. And the combo would be Auto Q, get W again, Auto Q, you wait a little bit and you auto again. And if they try to run with flash, let's say the dummy was right here, then you can E onto them and gap close. And by the time you gap close, your W will be up again and you can just get rock or river and probably kill them by then. And this will help you a lot with skirmishes, which I will talk about later on the video. Alright, so I'll be talking about the triple Q combo. You basically want to ER, wait a bit, QWQ. I also have a clip to show you after this. So basically you want to ER on the wall, Q, and WQ again. So it looks like you shut out 3 Qs. So basically, that looked like a triple Q combo. You want to R flash EQWQ, and this is going to be very effective to start a team fight or when no one has vision on you, and this will catch people off guard and they will probably have no time to react. So let's say that right here is pinked and the enemy team is they're trying to contest the dragon. You can R flash EQWQ and you probably will win the fight. Alright, so I'm going to be talking about her matchups and how to play her in lane. So for laning, Qiyana is very similar as Katarina, and that means you lose almost 80% of your matchups against other mid laners because you do negative damage as Qiyana pre-5. And I'll be showing you my tier list that I think is one of the harder matchups for Qiyana. As you can tell from this picture, Qiyana loses to control mages and bruiser mids most of the time because she cannot trade with them as well, and probably because they have more damage than you pre-6. And the only champs that you can think of fighting are mainly squishy mids such as Kassadin, Ryze, and Ori. So we'll be talking about the very hard matchups, which mainly consists of bruisers, and you cannot jump on them at all unless you have a team with you, and because they will outtrade you 100% of the time. So what you can do is sit back on tower until you're level 3, and that's when you can start trading. So I suggest hovering grass Q forever in this laning phase. You can get grass Q right here, or you can get it from here. And what you would want to do would be just EQ and walk out. Or you can also what you can also do is EQ and get an auto off and proc your electric and walk out. What you can also do is incorporate your W after you pop out your stuff and poke them down without them touching you. I'll show you an example right now. So you would EQ walk out and W out and walk back to your tower, and you will most of the time win your trades from that. Okay, so going back to this picture, we'll be talking about the hard matchups. And the hard matchup mainly consists of control mages and will poke you down due to their long reach and good CC and trades in their kits. And for medium matchups, they are usually a 50-50 because you either take good trades or take bad ones. This means you either have to sit back in lane and farm up and wait for your jungler to gank you or make a play in the river. And when your jungler makes a play in the river, you absolutely have to follow, because Season 10 is so fucked up that if you do not help your jungler, even if it costs you 2 waves, they will say either mid diff and want to open. Then everyone's mental is fucked in your game. So I would highly recommend you to follow up with your jungler. And if you have an AFK farming jungler, let's say Master Yi or Shyvana, you either farm or roam pre-6 depending on your matchups. Alright, now we're going to be talking about how to win 50% of your trades as Qiyana. I see a lot of people not using their Q effectively when laning. A lot of Qiyana players will just WQ and poke. But what you are supposed to do is you're supposed to Q without an element, which procs your passive right here. And then you will grab another element and it will reset your passive and you Q again. That means you'll be doing more damage over time and most likely win the trade. And what I suggest Qiyana players to do when they are versus the hard and very hard laners, like I said before, is to always hover grass. This will allow you to keep doing consistent damage without taking poke damage. And when you keep doing this trade, this will allow you to set up a gank for your jungler. And when your laner, your enemy, is at least 50% HP, you do not want to get water Q. because if you get water Q when they're 50% or lower, and you know that you can kill them within the next 5 to 10 seconds, or if your jungler is near because you grab it, they will suspect the gank coming and back off or play safe. They will most likely run back to their tower. And this is why I recommend you just hovering grass for the time being. Let's say your jungler is coming to gank for you, you will be able to do the same trade again and wait for your jungler. And as soon as your jungler pops up on your screen, which means out of the bush, let's say they come out right now, then you can get W from river and you can reach them. And this will either burn your laner's flash or you might even kill them. And this will give you the advantage to be able to choose to roam or base. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about build paths. And here are my regular setup for runes that I've been using. You remember me talking about how Qiyana loses 80% of her matchups, right? Well, you will need the inspiration rune for sustain and mana to farm and poke. A lot of new Qiyana players usually just look up builds and copy them, but I highly recommend you take Ravenous Hunter because it gives you more sustain and healing while you're splitting your side lanes during the mid game. And what people do not know is that your W works with Ravenous Hunter and you basically have built-in lifesteal. I also see people maxing W just for the attack speed, but I do not think it's worth since it does not lower your W cooldown. An alternative keystone page that you could take would be swap out one adaptive force for the attack speed keystone, because I really do not think you need that much attack speed for her to work. And maxing E second would allow you to be able to gap close and do more damage while having your cooldown load, and will enable you to proc the extra damage on your rock enhancement if they are 50% or lower HP. I also would recommend you buy Serrated Dirk before finishing Mobies, because Mobies only give movement speed, not damage, and you will need the damage to push in your lanes and be able to trade more efficiently towards your laner. And roaming isn't necessarily always the case, because you always need to control your laner. If you have the damage, you are able to do at least 50% of their HP with the Serrated Dirk at level 5, which means having 3 points into your Q. And with 3 points into your Q is when you start doing more damage, because after the past nerfs, Qiyana wasn't able to all-in level 3 and kill. So now you have time to farm, base, and buy Serrated Dirk, then kill, and control your mid laner at level 5. Alright, so my finished build would be in order: Duskblade into Mobies, Edge of Night, Lord Dominic's, Black Cleaver, and then a Yomu's at the end. The items I put an arrow to are mostly situational, but since Soraka is nerfed, we don't really need more reminder unless there's a Fed Vlad or an Ardent Eager on their team. This build allows you to be tanky and still useful in the late game because you will be having a decent amount of lethality and armor pen, as well as 40% CDR. And a lot of you guys ask me why I don't build Tiamat. I do think it's good, but it's only useful if you're against champs that push your lanes in fast. An example would be Echo or Ryze. I don't think it's necessary since people do not really play Echo, and for Ryze it's a fairly easy matchup. Tiamat is good in pushing at waves, but at level 5 you are able to one-shot the back wave with just 2 Qs. And you also save about 200 gold, so you can buy pinks with that. And this game is all about vision, so please buy your pinks. Yeah, I'll show you right now that you can just kill the back wave with just 2 Qs at level 5 and it's Radiant Trick. Wait, I missed my Q. Lamau. Alright, now I'm going to show you a prime example of how I roam. So, I'm just pushing right now. Okay, and after I push, I'm not able to roam. And most of the time, if your mid laner loses vision of you, you are already applying pressure on the map. What I can choose to do now is I could just sit in the brush and do nothing. Or I could choose to base and buy, but it's not really worth since I don't have much gold. Only 500. Or I can choose to roam, which I did. So what I can do, I can literally just sit in a freaking bush like a fucking dog and still apply pressure on the map, because your enemy mid laner, he's most likely going to spam ping the fuck out of their team and tell them to back off. And this will have great influence around the map as the enemies will be backing off and hugging their tower. Since I have Mobies, I am faster than the enemy mid laner, so I am able to push the lane faster and push in the wave before they can come back to lane. And this makes it that the enemy mid laner has to catch the wave and give me time, and which gives me a lot of time to roam. You see in this clip, I'm just like hovering around here for like 20-30 seconds. and the enemy mid laner is still farming mid. This is a pretty bad dive, but we get a kill and I leave. And as you can see, the Annie's here. But by the time I already finished the gank and dove them, the enemy mid laner walked bot for no reason when he could just push mid and make me lose a wave or something. Alright, so now we're going to be going into tips and tricks. So I saw a lot of VODs of people playing Qiyana, but I never see them do this. This trick is basically dashing, and while you're mid dash, you ult them against the wall. So you're basically just pressing ER. Let's say there's an enemy that's trying to run back to their team, and you're unable to kill him solo. So your team is behind you, and you want to isolate the enemy. What would you do? So you would ER. So you would E and R behind. So your team will have enough time to come and probably get a pick on him before the enemy team reacts. And now I'll show you a clip of me doing it on double lift, but this situation is when he misplayed and he wasn't watching out for my flank. So what happened just now is double lift just ulted the wave, so now we can't get inhib tower, and their side lanes are pushing, so we have to back or else we lose 2 inhibs. So now they're pushing up to stop back, but then I come in here above him and ER him against the wall.
Instantly, no.
So now we basically just won the fight and can end the game from there. So another trick or tip I would like to show is that Qiyana's OT can be doubled in range. It's pretty simple, you just ult flash backwards. It's really useful in team fights around Dragon or Baron Pit because they will not expect the width to be that big. And you can also get someone behind you if you ult flash. Because if you just ult right here, you will not. You probably can't hit him. So if you ult flash, you would also drag him and hit 3 people. Alright, so this tip and trick is what made me love playing Qiyana, and I think all Qiyana players need to know this. So if you have 40% CDR for my build I recommended, or I gave you guys, you can stealth for a long period of time with your grass W, and it allows you for huge outplay potential and time for your team to get to you. So let me show you. So you Q and the duration is going off. So that's like 3.5 seconds, right? But if you Q and instantly get grass again inside the width, then after you leave stealth you can Q again and you can get another one again. So you basically can go stealth forever and stall for your team. So now I have this clip from my stream that I'll be demonstrating for you guys about this grass Q. So you can see I'm in like a sticky situation right now. Like I'm 100% dead. I'm basically just using grass Q to stall time for my team. And I should be dead right here, but somehow I lived. Alright, so for my next tip is that a lot of Qiyana players do not seem to know this, but getting Duskblade is way better than Ghostblade early on. A lot of you guys might ask, isn't Ghostblade better because you get more movement speed, so it allows you to roam faster? That's true, but it isn't always the case. Duskblade is better for damage early on to one-shot, since you already have movement speed from your W enhancement and the Time Work Tonic rune. Duskblade gives you more lethality and AD, so it will be very useful in jungle skirmishes, and I guarantee you that you will need the extra AD and lethality to fight junglers that build tabbies and have red smite. So this next tip will be very useful against fighting bruisers in the mid game when you're pushing your side lanes. So your grass W incorporated with your Duskblade will be your key factors while fighting bruisers. And we all know how Duskblade works, right? You basically auto out of vision and you do extra damage and slow them. There is no way in hell you are going to one-shot a bruiser that usually runs Conqueror, so you would have to toy with them. This is where my slow combo comes in handy. Most top laners would push pretty far down the lanes, and fighting this would only work if there are brushes around you. So pretend someone is split pushing right here. You can toy with them with these 3 bushes, as well as top lane. So this is when you would use the slow combo. So auto Q, get the split again, auto Q. Alright, so my last tip would be on how to play Qiyana throughout the whole game, and which will be hovering grass Q most of the time. So the stealth is just too good not to be used since it has a 3.5 second stealth, and you cannot be seen by control wards. So things to take note of are that you are able to see through the silhouettes of the sweeper, and you can also be seen through chains such as Kled Q and Karma W. And this is why I permaban Kled. That champ is just a pain to deal with. So going back to the stealth, it really enables you to set up fights because you can just jump in like an ape and EQ with a grass W, and they will not be able to see you. And most of the time, it is certain that 60% of the enemies will try to use their abilities on you while you're stealth, which gives your team the advantage. The enemy team would most likely have their tanks or maybe the squishy misplay group up into your stealth, and you can just ult them, and you will probably win the fight from that. I've had this happen to me many times, and it allows me to turn games around by doing that. Unfortunately, I don't have any clips of that. So that is it for my Qiyana guide. Thank you for watching, guys. And my socials will be in the description below. Thank you.